It was probably more from my experience running in university lectures than it was actually the hundreds and hundreds of philosophy, politics books that I read in the school library. So at the end of the day, the skills that you pick up from doing your extra curricular activities, the skills that you pick up from getting a chance to work with your colleagues, work with a wide variety of people, could actually end up being much more useful for your career than the content or the subject that you're studying. So do allocate enough time, right, to explore these extracurricular activities, both at a school level and at a university level. And then the third is about, when you think about career choices, right? Don't think about what you want to be, but think about what you want to do. There's a subtle distinction in regards to this, right? Let's say, initially I asked, what's your childhood dream? And I got a reply saying, I want to be president, right? Sure, that's kind of a high-level dream that you have in terms of which career you want to do. But what's really, really important is instead of thinking about what you want to be, think more about what you want to do. If you want to be a president, what is the daily life of a politician going to be like? Because you might really enjoy the idea of being president, of being a politician, but when you realize what the schedule kind of 8 to 5 for a politician looks like, you might end up saying, hey, this is not for me. So what I ended up doing was to figure out really what the daily schedule of a politician looked like before deciding to quit my job and enter politics. Because what you quickly realize is a lot of people like me wanted to be a politician because we wanted to improve or develop the country in one way, fix some of the country's problems. But then when you become a politician, you realize that your daily life is not all about thinking of ideas to fix the country. You have to wake up very early. That could be a drawback for some. You need to be very comfortable in terms of talking to people from very different set of backgrounds and talking to strangers. If you're shy and you don't dare approach the people, you're never going to find out what issues they're facing in their lives. If you want to be a politician, you need to be prepared to give these speeches, sometimes with very little notice, to a room full of hundreds and hundreds of people. You need to be prepared to give an impromptu interview, which is probably a very, very scary experience when you have a lot of cameras shooting at you and pressuring you with questions. This was actually me after I just lost my election, right? Probably the time where I wanted to just go home and lock myself in a room, but I ended up having to face like these journalists coming in. So finding this out early is very useful to think about what career you want to do. It's not just about the fact that you like the image of being or pursuing a certain career, but think about the 9 to 5, the 8 to 5 schedule of that career as well. And then the fourth lesson is there is no recipe for success, right? Which is similar to what I said before. Does anyone know who this guy is? Any ideas? So this guy was the founder of McDonald's. Does anyone know what McDonald's is? Okay, just checking that you guys can hear me in the back. He actually founded McDonald's when he was 54. So don't be too disheartened if you feel that your friends are already being so successful at what they're doing and you haven't really got started. Because at the end of the day, there is a different kind of path or different timeline for everyone in terms of achieving success. Does anyone know who this guy is? KFC, yes. Guess when he founded KFC? How old was he when he founded KFC? Our famous Colonel Sanders. 63. 65. So there is no correct timeline for success. Right? Just because you haven't achieved what you wanted to do by the age of 60 doesn't mean that you might not end up creating one of the most successful fast food chains in the whole world. And then the final kind of inspiration I wanted to talk about was actually J.K. Rowling. Right? J.K. Rowling achieved success relatively early on. She wrote Harry Potter when she was 32. But guess what she was doing when she was 30? Was she kind of on her way into this success already when she was 30? 2 years before she wrote Harry Potter? No. She just got divorced. She just separated from her husband. She just lost a child. She just lost her job. She just moved country. So 2 years before J.K. Rowling wrote one of the most famous books in the world, she was in a position probably at the lowest point in her career. But she didn't give up, right? She didn't say just because I'm at my lowest point in my career at age of 30, it means that I can never be successful later on in my life. So with an idea in mind, with a typewriter in hand, she decided to write what has now become one of the most famous book series in the world. And then the final lesson I want to leave you with today in terms of enjoying your university life and your post-student life is don't forget what is the most important thing in your life. Prioritizing what is the most important thing in your life is very, very important. And I want to share this point or reiterate this point by sharing a story that a university professor in America used with his students. So in one of the classes with his students, an American university professor picked up an empty jar. And he asked the student if his jar was empty. The student would reply, yes, it's got nothing inside, so it's empty. Then he started putting in these big rocks to fill up the jar. Right? Put in as many rocks as possible so that the jar was filled up. Then he asked his students if this jar is now full. His students replied, yes, it's now full, cannot fit in another rock. He said, are you sure? So he decided to pick up a bag of small pebbles, and he put his pebbles to fill in the gaps between those big rocks. He then asked the students if the jar is now full. The students said, okay, now it's definitely full. You can definitely not fit anything else in. So the university professor then picked up a bag of sand, and he poured the sand to fill in the remaining gaps of that jar. And he said that this jar, with these big rocks, with these small pebbles, with the sand, represents your life. The big rocks are basically what's the most important thing in your life. It could be your family, it could be your best friends, it could be your career dream. The small pebbles are things that are important to your life, but are not that important or not that necessary. There are things that you could potentially live without. It could be your not so close friends, it could be your more distant members of the family, it could be your hobby. And then sand represents things that are external to you. Things like your iPhone, things like your favorite pen, things like your favorite pieces of clothing, things that are external to your life. And he said, look, even if your life ends up with just the big rocks, right? Even if your life ends up with just the most important things in your life, even if your life ends up with you having time for your family, or your best friends, or your main career, your life can still be fulfilling, just like how this jar looked full when there were just big rocks in it. But if you start off badly in terms of prioritizing, if instead of putting in the big rocks first, you pour in the sand first to fill in the jar, there will be no space left in that jar for your big rocks. Similarly in life, if you end up kind of taking in or giving importance to these external things, these small things, you're going to end up having very little time for what's really most important for you in your life. So as part of growing up, as kind of part of leaving school to start your university life, to start your adult life, you'll be faced with challenges in terms of managing your priorities and managing your time. There's going to be no teacher to come in and say, from 8 to 10 you're going to do this. There's not going to be your parent telling you, from 6 to 8 p.m. you're going to do this. You have to manage your own time. So make sure you allocate your time first to what's really important in your life. Make sure you start filling your jar with the big rocks before you fill it up with sand. So that's kind of my advice on enjoying university life. And here, I think finally, just briefly, before we run out of time, I want to just share a little bit in terms of contributing to society. Firstly, sure, I felt that politics was one way to contribute to society, but as I mentioned, it's not the only way, right? Any career path you choose, apart from contributing to your own passion, can also contribute to society in some way or another. I take an example of this girl. Has anyone seen this girl before? She is called Greta. She is a Swedish 15 or 16-year-old. She grew up in a family that listened to a lot of TV, or watched a lot of TV. And in the background, during her meals at home, she would keep hearing about documentaries regarding climate change. And she used to get really scared. She used to kind of hear this noise in the background telling how the world is going to end, how the world temperature is heating up, and how there's going to be huge floods just like today, how there's going to be huge droughts. And she got really, really scared. And she got really, really annoyed as well at why the government was taking no action to try and save the planet. So when she was 15, she decided to ask her mom. She asked her mom if she can skip school every Friday afternoon. I'm not encouraging that, by the way. She asked her mom if she can skip school every Friday afternoon to go and kind of protest or show up a sign at the government office to make sure that the people in power or the Prime Minister is aware of the environmental problems that have not been addressed. Right? You don't need to be in politics to contribute to society. Greta's actions every Friday afternoon is able to make sure that the government responds in terms of environmental policies. Now, when we think about contributing to society, what we really need to think about is how do we make our country successful? How do you measure the success of a country? Does anyone have an idea? How do you measure and say this country is successful? Sorry? Ability. Sustainability. Okay. It's almost like you know the answer. One of the previous measures of the success of a country used to be revolved around what we call GDP. Has anyone heard of GDP before? GDP stands for Gross Domestic Product. Right? Sounds very complicated, but the idea is very simple. What it does is it adds up the income of every person in the country. So it adds up your income, your family's income, every person in Thailand's income, and then add it all together and see if it shrinks or it grows. If the total income increases, the government's happy. If the total income decreases, the government is sad. Now this used to be how we measured a country's success. But is it really, really the best measure of a country's success? I take an example of a problem you will face every day, Bangkok traffic. Let's say in 1 year's time, traffic gets worse than it is today. Of course, you will be less happy. Your quality of life will be lower. But what happens to GDP? GDP actually increases because you need to fill up your tank much more often. You need to go to the petrol station much more often. So there's a mismatch there about your happiness and GDP level. Secondly is the problem of pollution. Let's say Bangkok becomes so polluted that you have to go and buy an air mask looking like this every day. What happens to your happiness? Goes down, right? But what happens to GDP? It goes up because now the pharmacy shop can basically sell so many masks to a population that needs it. And then finally, if you let's say end up having a very successful career, that you're able to retire early, you have enough savings, you have enough money in your bank account to retire early and spend time with your children. What happens to your happiness? Goes up. You get to spend much more time with your family, with your children. But GDP goes down because when you quit your job, that income that you used to generate for the economy is taken away. The overall point I'm trying to show here is that at the end of the day, when we think about contributing to society, we need to think broader than just increasing people's income. We need to think about sustainability. We need to think about happiness, right, which expands across so many more dimensions than just economic. Right? It's also about making sure that we have sustainable cities that are polluted. It's also about having gender equality, where every boy and every girl has the same opportunity in life. It's about protecting the environment both above water and below water. At the end of the day, if you want to create a happy country, you need to address both politics, economics, and society. Right? Now, I won't go into detail, but there are a lot of issues that need fixing in Thailand. Right? And I think it's up to you which issue is most kind of relevant to you, or the issue that you really want to solve the most. But I would encourage you to kind of think about which problem that you really want to change for the country and kind of build up your knowledge on that specific problem. It's not going to be possible for one person to be able to solve every problem, but as long as you find a problem that you're really passionate in solving and really trying to make changes with regards to that problem, then I think that's also one great way you can contribute to society. And I want to end this talk by thinking about how can we create that change. Let's say you realize that one of the problems you want to solve is make sure that everyone in Thailand can speak English. That could be one problem. How do you actually make that change? And I want to answer this by playing a game with you guys. I want one volunteer on the floor, right? Who's going to come up on this stage and end up doing press-ups 50 times, right? Then they have to do 20 forward rolls, right? Forward roll. Then back counts as one, do 20 times. And they have to do 150 star jumps. You sure you want to do that? 50 press-ups, 20 forward rolls, 150 star jumps. Okay, you're the first one that I've ever seen, so I mean a round of applause for her bravery. But for safety reasons, I'm not going to ask her to do it. But she's only one person who volunteered, right? I think that's one thing to notice. And most of the time I do this exercise, no one ever volunteers. Or two people, sorry. But if I rephrase the question, so I just ask everyone if anyone wants to come up and do 50, 100 push-ups. If I rephrase the question and say, what would it take for me to change your mind? What can I say, what can I do to change your mind? Any offers? What would it take for me to change your mind? What can I give you to change your mind? For you to come and do 100 press-ups? Okay, there's a guy signaling money. Yes, that's one of the most effective way to enact change. Anyone else? Any other answer? Sorry?
You won't die forever.
You want?
Won't die forever.
You won't die forever. Okay. So safety. Okay. Anyone else?
I need you to convince me, or honestly, I need you to convince, or maybe even possibly give hope that I, as a person, as a girl, who's seen as a weaker sex than a guy, can do it. Like, give hope.
Give hope, convincing, giving hope, showing, leading by example. So there are often four answers that I get when I play this game, and it reflects the four elements of creating change. The first and most common answer is pay me, right, from that guy over there. At the end of the day, if you want to create change, let's say if you want people in Thailand to recycle, then the first way to change is actually giving a reward system. Make sure that you design policies that actually reward people for recycling. If you recycle, you get money back for recycling. That could be one way to incentivize people to change. The second answer I get is, I don't know how to do it. What is a startup? What is a forward roll? Teach me how. If you want to change people's behavior, you need to educate them. You need to train them up with the necessary skills. Right? If you want people to be able to recycle, you need to make sure that they know which type of waste to put in which colored bin. A lot of times people actually want to recycle, but they don't know how to separate plastic from other materials. The third factor of change is tell me why. Convincing. Tell me why I need to do it. If you just ask me to come and do press-ups for no apparent reason whatsoever, I'm not going to do it. So help me understand why it's important for me to come and do my push-ups. And then finally is, why don't you do it first? Instead of asking all of us to come up and do it, why don't you do it on stage first? At the end of the day, enacting change and creating change requires a role model. When we talk about gender inequality, that's why at the end of the day, when you see an important female figure in certain positions of power, it acts as a role model for young girls out there to think that they can do this as well, right? Similarly, if the government wants people to recycle, the first place that people will look into is to see if the government building is already recycling or not. So at the end of the day, I leave you with this. If you want to create change, whatever that may be, if you want people to behave better, recycle more, learn more about their English skills, think about these four elements of change. Make sure you reward people for changing and contributing to society. Make sure you give them the necessary skills, information, education to enact the change. Make sure you're able to explain why that change is needed. And finally, make sure you're the first person to stand up and do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Itim, for that truly inspiring and informative talk. At this juncture, we'd like to invite Mr. Itim to sit over one of the chairs for the Q&A portion.
And we call Emil Din of Secondary 4 Fred to the stage to moderate. Emil will be assisted by Noel of Sec 4 and AJ of Sec 2 on the floor. Emil, we now hand the floor over to you.
Hi, thank you, me and Florence, and good afternoon. This is I am Emil, and I will moderate this portion together with my assistant moderators, Noel and AJ. To ensure a smooth Q&A portion flow, we have rules to follow, and if you want to ask a question, please raise your hand, and once you're recognized, state your name, your class, and then your question. Let us refrain from asking questions that are intrusive or personal, and only ask relevant questions that are related to this forum. And to show our appreciation to those who participate in this portion, one house point will be given to those who raise a question. So let us start this all rolling with my question first, I believe. Nope, and AJ have their own sets of questions as well, so they will follow after. For the rest, please prepare what you have in mind. Summon your inner tiger and your guts and courage, and raise your hands to be recognized. So, Mr. Itim, my question is, what would your advice be to young people who are, let's say, hooked on technology, social media, and games?
So, I don't always view technology as something that's bad. Right? When we say someone is hooked on technology or someone's always using their mobile phones, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Right? At the end of the day, when you think about technology, technology is an equalizer. It actually enables people to access news faster. It enables people in rural communities to access information more easily. And if you're very familiar with technology, very adept at using technology, that can actually create a job for you. So one of the most fascinating things that I've seen is that in the past year, whenever I visit kind of primary and secondary schools across the country, when I ask them what they want to do, what's their dream job, one answer always comes up much more highly than before, which is I want to be a professional gamer. I want to be a game caster. Right? And this kind of rise of esports is a thing, one way to show that technology is not always destructive. It can be constructive as well. It just depends on how much time you allocate to each. If you're allocating a lot of time to play games, that's not wrong. Everyone needs to relax. But make sure you allocate enough time to concentrate on your studies as well. And if you really enjoy gaming to a certain extent that you feel hooked on it, it's also quite, I think, a constructive way to think about how can you translate that into a career. Right? If you play so many games and you feel that, hey, I am so good at thinking about what a good game, what a fun game should look like, you could potentially become a game designer. So trying to make sure that you are able to grow a career out of your passion, I think is important. So technology for me is not always a bad thing.
Thank you very much for that. Now let's have Noel's question. Good afternoon. My name is Noel from Secondary 4, and my question today is kind of related to the first topic you mentioned, discovering yourself. So many influential people have mentioned about discovering yourself or finding your inner self. I know there's no recipe for it, but do you have an advice on how we can discover our inner self as soon as possible? Because some of us will have to be thinking about our career paths in a few years and all that.
So I think the advice I would give was given to me by my manager when I quit my job at politics. And he asked me straight up front, saying, why are you interested in politics? Why do you want to do it? And I gave him a very technical answer of what I mentioned to you guys. But then he said, what do you actually enjoy about it? And he doesn't mean the job, but he means the activities that you enjoy. And he said, think back about your time in this company, right, as a consultant. And think about your daily life. And think about which bit during the day you get the most energy. Is it when you're on your laptop opening Excel, analyzing all these numbers? Is it when you're interviewing your client to find out more about how the company is doing? Is it when you're presenting our team's findings on stage? What activities during the day do you actually get energy? And I'm sure if you ask this question to yourself, everyone here, you'll be able to quickly realize at what time during the day and by doing which activity do you get excited. Some people might say, I had the most energy when I was able to go into my own room and read. Another person might say, I got the most energy when I got to do group work with my friends. Another person might say, I got the most energy when I played sports during my lunch break. So think of that first, think small. Try and think about what specific activities you actually enjoy doing, and then think about how that can lead onto something greater. If you realize you're someone who really enjoys speaking in front of a big crowd, then there's not many people who are good at that. So it's a good way to try and forge a career out of that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thank you. No. Now let's have AJ for this question.
Hi, I'm AJ. I'm from secondary 2 Faith. As a foreigner from America, I see this as a great opportunity to ask my question, which is, what was one of your hardest obstacles you need to surpass?
Hardest obstacle. I think for me, I give two answers. I think for me, when I was growing up, the hardest bit was when I initially went to the UK to study. Because when I first went, as I mentioned, it was a big transition in many ways. Firstly, I went from a day school, where I would go home every day, to a boarding school, where not only do I stay in the school, but I had to be in a different country. I had to fly down to the UK. Secondly, I used to grow up in a co-ed education system. That means I have friends with both boys and girls. Suddenly it's all boys, right? Which can be good and bad in many ways. And then finally, it was in a different language. My English was not like this when I was 13. I barely knew the difference between past and present tense. I remember after every English lesson, I had to stay behind for an additional, I think, half an hour to learn about tenses, right? Because there's no tenses in Thai. So for me, I think it's that kind of transition, which was probably the biggest obstacle. I mean, when we talk about change, we always view change as something that's positive. We always think about, okay, we want to change the country, but change is actually something that's very difficult and very challenging. So I think for me, as an advice to anyone who might be encountering such changes, is that try to think about it from a positive angle, right? Obviously, every change there will be something you lose, but try to think about what new things that you can now do that previously you couldn't do. When I went to a boarding school in the UK, obviously the negative side of change was not understanding what the hell everyone else was saying. But the positive side was, hey, suddenly I don't have my parents kind of bearing down on me about what I'm doing with my life, so I can really enjoy and manage my own time. So I think trying to see the positive side of that change is important. And then the second experience I would share in terms of what's the biggest obstacle was probably when I lost my election earlier this year. Right? I never took it for granted. We had a polling team in our constituency where we knew that the result was going to be close. But it was still nevertheless disappointing to not get a chance to work in a career that I wanted to do. And when the results came in, I remember being pretty sad, pretty upset. But what kind of helped get me through it was realizing that you're a very small part of something much bigger. Right? I look around my room and there were two sets of people in that room. One set was kind of the older generation politicians, local councillors, who also was banking on me winning that seat. Because if I were an MP in that seat, I could help coordinate and we could work as a team to help improve the area. When I lost that seat, it meant they also lost their jobs. And then I looked at another set of people who were the younger generation, most of them actually younger than me. And they came in hoping for a chance to actually implementing the changes that we were saying during the campaign period in Parliament. A loss for me was also a loss for them, right? Because they would not get a chance to go and implement those changes. So when you kind of look around and realize that there's something much bigger at hand here than just you. When you try and step out of your own disappointment to look at the bigger picture, I think that's when you start to contextualize your own obstacles and realize that it's your own very small part of this world.
Thank you, wonderful. Now, the floor is open to our students, second edition, to ask, I think there are some questions. So let's have Lee over there, please. Please state your name and your question.
My name is Lee from Secondary 3 Faith. My question is, when applying for a job, would they rather look for a high-ranking university with low grades or a university no one's ever heard of with high grades?
Repeat the question. Do they prefer a high-ranking university with lower grades, or a high grade with a lower-ranking university? There's no one correct answer to that. It depends on the company, right? To be very concrete, in the UK system, when you graduate from university, you get different grades. You get first-class honors, and there's 2-1, 2-2, and 3. Don't ask me how they came up with this set of numbers, but if you first 2-1, 2-2, and 3. The company I applied to, they didn't accept anyone with a 2-2 or 3. Right? So for that company, they cared more about the grades you get at that university, more than just which university they came from. Obviously, there are still certain biases towards a slightly higher ranking university, but there's no kind of clear-cut set of rules that every company follows. But I think the bigger picture here is that I think two things. One is when you apply for a job, they don't just look at university; they look at your CV or resume, which is more about what you've done across your entire life. It doesn't matter as much which university you went to. It's more what did you actually do at that university. Okay, you got this amount of grades in your classroom, but what additional work did you do? Outside of the classroom, what did you do at university? Did you take part in certain clubs? Did you take part in certain sports teams? What did you do in your summer break between your first and second year, your second and third year? Does it reflect someone who's really interested in doing this job? Does it reflect the skill set that this job will require? So your university, your grade is a very small part of your application. And when they start interviewing you, and speaking from someone who used to interview people in my previous company, once you start the interview, you kind of forget which university they're from. Right? You look at your CV and your resume, that's when you decide who you want to interview. But when you get to an interview stage, you're really more engaged in terms of what that person is like. Would you want to work with that person? And that's the question that comes across every interview of mine. And by then, it's nothing to do with university. And my second point is that there's a golden kind of a rule of thumb which says that your education only kind of constrains your application for your first job. Once you move to a second job, they will care more about what you did at your first job than what you did at your university. It's the same, right? I'm sure a lot of you are very stressed with exams at secondary school. But once you apply for a job, your exams at secondary school might matter when you apply for university. But when you apply for a job, they don't really look at what grades you got in grade 11 chemistry. So don't get overstressed about that question. Just think more about what's the best place for me to pick up the required skills.
Thank you. Okay. Let's have Ewan, Pihu, and then Parit. In that order, please. State your name and your class.
Hello again, my name is Ewan and I'm from Secondary 4. So my question is, how do we change? And ostensibly, change is a difficult thing, as you said. But what if you're a person who's like stubborn and maybe a little bit lazy, but you still have, since you're stubborn, you still have this determination that you want to change. How do you change if you're that type of person?
I said, how do you change yourself?
Yes, exactly.
For me, it's a little bit like exercising. Once you go into work mode, it's not that easy to force yourself to exercise. And this is speaking from experience. I think the most important factor of change, I put 4 up here, right? I think the most important is actually the bottom 2. First is you need to understand first why you want to change, right? I think the most effective way that, I think research has shown that the most effective way that people start exercising is after they become ill with a certain illness, which made them realize that, hey, I need to live my life in a more healthy way. I mean, we are hoping that that's not the wake-up call that you need to change and exercise, but every day, try to understand the reason behind it. I think it's the reason that gives you the motivation. And it's the same when you enter the workplace. When I was campaigning, I had to wake up, I think 4 a.m. every day, and I get to sing at midnight. 4 hours a day for about 2 months is relatively tough. So you need to really know why you need to get up. If you can't answer that question, if you can't answer the question of why you want to do this job and it's so tiring, then you lose hope very quickly and then you end up kind of not doing that job very well. But then the one here I think is important as well. It's not just in terms of role modeling, but you realize that most changes are effective when there's a group of people changing with you and you're not alone. And I initially had a video to show regarding this, and if we have time here, we can show. But you realize that the most important change happens when you're not the only one changing.
Thank you.
State your name and your class.
Good afternoon, my name is Pihu and I'm from S4 Faith. I would like to ask, how do you make self-study enjoyable? Because in universities, there's not really a teacher teaching you every time. And I'm that kind of person who likes to listen and interact. So I just would like to know, how can you make it more efficient and effective?
Yeah, so people have different preferences. Some people prefer to study on their own. Some people hate it when you have to go and do group work, right? But if you're like me and like you, I actually get energy from discussing a certain point with other people. What I used to do even before my finals exam, which was probably the time where I had to work the hardest in my life, we used to have kind of co-revision sessions with my friends. So we kind of prepare different topics, and then we would kind of share, collaborate, and then explain each topic to another person. So let's say we would take an exam in like political philosophy. I would prepare content on democracy, and then he would prepare content on, let's say, like equality or liberty, and then we would share our notes and make it more interactive. I think that's the best way. And I think it's related to the earlier question about how do you create change and how do you get through difficult times. I think it's finding people who are close to you is very important.
Thank you.
State your name and your class.
Hello, my name is Parit, and I'm from secondary 3A. My question is a bit similar to Knox, which is discovering yourself, but what kind of advice would you give to someone who is very indecisive and like kind of follows people instead of listening to what they think and like they can't really decide much?
How do you give advice to people who are maybe not so stubborn and get a bit indecisive? I think it's okay to follow people. I don't think there's too much wrong with that, right? But I mean, the best way to counteract that is to expose yourself to as wide a variety of people as possible. Because if you know you're someone who's going to kind of get easily persuaded by your set of friends to like a certain thing, then if you have if you have many different groups of friends who are pulling you in different directions, then that's one way to kind of check and balance each other, right? And it gives you kind of space to see more about what is out there. I mean, a follower is not something that's bad, by the way. Someone who follows their friends, in a way, makes you more flexible to try out new things. And it might end up that you might follow your friend to do a certain thing, but then you quickly realize that actually, you really enjoy this, and you thank your friend for actually leading you in that direction. So my advice is, if you're feeling indecisive, then try and follow many groups of friends so you expose yourself to a lot of different things.
Okay, we have Sebastian over. State your name and your class.
Hi, I'm Sebastian and I'm from Sec 2 Hope. Today I want to ask is advice from, like, if you made the wrong decision for your life.
And advice if I made a wrong decision in my life. Oh, good question. There are a few decisions I would have changed if I can go back in time. I won't go into detail or I will get too related to politics. But I think it's very hard to find someone, even my age, and now that I say this, it sounds like I'm really old, but it's very hard to find someone who's never made a wrong decision in their life, right? If you're stressing about making a decision and making sure it's 100% right, then you're gonna end up not making any decision, right? I live by this kind of rule of thumb, which I give to myself, which is, it's called 80-20. It says, how do you get an answer that is 80% correct in 20% of the time? Sure, if you want an answer that's 100% correct, you're gonna have to dedicate a lot of time to find out the facts, and it's gonna take a long time for you to decide. By the time you decide to act on it, even if you're 100% sure it's the right one, it might be too late. For me, it's how do I decide very quickly an answer that is roughly correct or correct enough, and then just go with it, right? And I think as long as you learn from your previous decision making, I think that's the most important. There's nothing wrong with deciding or making the wrong choice, but there is something wrong with making the wrong choice many, many times. Right?
Thank you. We have let's have Mimi and
Please, your name and your class.
My name is Mimi. I'm for secretary. I think that nowadays people can be very easily stressed because of the competition. Even little kids are now very stressed. How do you think we can overcome the stress?
Yeah, it's true that people in our society are becoming more stressed. One is the educational system, right? People have to take tests even at primary school. But the other thing is also social media. There's actually research that says that social media is positively correlated with the level of kind of depression or stress that people in the younger years undergo. And the reason for stress mainly is when we start making comparisons. And one of the reasons social media causes stress is because you suddenly start comparing yourself to so many people. Some of them you don't even know. But firstly, you compare yourself to your friends, right? You see your friends do something on social media, they post on it, you're like, hey, they've done such great things, I've never done it. But even more so, social media exposes you to strangers your age who might have done something successful in their life. So this kind of comparison makes you feel a little bit stressed or make you kind of undervalue yourself. So I think for me the advice is try as much as possible to not compare yourself to someone else. And I think an analogy that I always give, which is quite useful to think about, is don't ever compare yourself to other people in terms of what you see them doing on social media. Because that's like comparing two movies, where you're comparing your own life or your own movie, where you're seeing kind of the first take, the second take, but things are going wrong. And you're comparing it to like the highlights reel of the other movie, where all you see is the surface. All you see is the successful things that they've done. It's almost like comparing two footballers, another example, where on your side, you see all the failures that footballer or yourself have gone through, all the stresses. Whereas on the other side, you only see kind of the highlights of their best goals and best skills moves. So it's not an apple-to-apple comparison when you do that, because you're comparing your own kind of behind the scenes with their highlights reel. And it's impossible for you to be able to compete with that. So try not to compare yourself with other people.
we have our
Name and class.
Hello, my name is Arwen and I'm from secondary 3. As a person who'd like to study abroad, I wanted to ask, how do you cope with such big changes and what was your motivation to keep going?
How do I keep up with... Sorry, can you repeat the question?
How do you cope with like the big changes of going to a new country and being away from everyone you knew?
Firstly, actually, I didn't have much choice. But how do I cope with changes? I think for me, it's and this is not just in terms of kind of your childhood as well. I think when you become an adult, you actually encounter many more big changes in your life than even before. I think the best way to cope is not to try and, how do I say this? Not try and attach yourself too much to the past, right? We all have memories. Some of them very good, some of them very bad, right? Let's say you move schools. You have very good memories of your current school, and then suddenly your parents have to move and you have to move schools. If you attach yourself too much to those memories in the past, then you're going to find it very difficult to move on. Because when you have new friends who come and approach you at your new school, you have new people that you meet, you're always going to start comparing it to your past. And if they're not as good, or they're not as friendly, or they're not the same as your friends in your previous school, you're always going to view them as being inadequate. So instead of comparing to your past or your memories that are good, always kind of treat them as new and not be too attached to your memories. Because when we look back at wherever there's a change and you lose something, that's when you really start to see the value of what you've lost. And you always only see the good side of your previous memories rather than seeing it the whole picture. So again, it's not a like-to-like comparison. So don't be too attached. Be happy with it. Be happy with the memories that you've built, but don't be too attached to it.
Right, thank you. Do we have any more questions? Right, let's have one last question. And that would come from... Oh no, sorry. Honey, please. State your name and your class.
Hello, so I'm Honey from Secondary 4, and from seeing your outstanding academic results, I would want to know how you are able to stay focused on your studies.
I'm able to stay focused on my studies. I think it comes back to that bit that I brushed through very quickly, which is to always be curious. I think one of the good habits I try to force myself to do is whenever I don't understand something, or whenever I have a question on something, I quickly try to resolve that mystery as quickly as possible. Right? And I think with the help of smartphones and Google, that becomes much, much easier. So if you go to a class and you hear something and you're like, I have no idea what that bit in your lesson, try and get that answer as quickly as possible. Because if you don't do it as quickly as possible, what happens is that you build up a lot of unanswered questions. So that when it comes to exams, when it comes to the period where you need to study really hard, you end up having to learn many, many new things instead of just revisiting your previous knowledge. So yeah, always be curious and use your smartphone smartly.
Right, now in the interest of time, we won't be able to accommodate any more questions. For those who are not called and we're not able to, Ms. Amai will be able to. Alright, let's entertain Ms. Maya's question. Can we give the mic to Ms. Maya?
I must affirm and validate your wonderful contribution to this forum. Thank you so much, Mr. Itim. And I would say you have done my job very well as a careers counselor. But for the interest of many here, including the parents and my colleagues, would you please give us some tips how you made it at Oxford University? It's been #1 in Times Higher Education, I think in the last 3 years now. And I'm sure we can learn some tips how you made it there. Please, thank you.
Tips on how I got there or how I made it out of there? Okay, tips on how okay, I'll give a bit of both. Tips on how I got there. I think, and this gets a bit technical, right? But I think firstly, at Oxford especially, what they're really looking for more than anything else is your passion in that subject. Every step of the way in the application process, it will filter out people who are not really that interested in that subject. Right? Let's say I take an example of economics. So let's say my brother applied for economics at Cambridge. It's important to make sure that your application backs up your interest. That means when you put in your CV, it's not just you got a good grade in a related subject, but it shows that, hey, during one of your summers, you went to do an internship program, or you just followed some person around in a job that helped you figure out more about this particular subject. I remember when my brother applied for economics, I think he interned at a certain kind of research unit. Obviously, he was very young, so didn't get to do much, but at least he learned more about what it took. Then secondly is when you write your essay or your personal statement to say why you want to apply, you make it very personal. So my brother's personal statement said along the lines of, he got interested in economics because he realized that his mother, or my mother as well, who was a doctor, charged a different price to Thai patients and international patients. And he couldn't figure out why when it was the same service. So that was kind of a spark in terms of why he was interested in economics. And then finally, the reason I gave my brother's example was I can't remember what I wrote in my personal statement. But then what I do remember is that the final step of getting to Oxford is your interview. And what they're looking for in an interview is a student, is someone that they can coach, someone that they feel that is genuinely interested in the subject. And the way Oxford and Cambridge do their interviews is the person who's going to end up teaching you is the person who's going to interview you. So I remember my interview question was a very open-ended question saying, how do you know that you're the same person now as the person you were 10 years ago? And how do you know that you're still going to be the same person 10 years from now as you are today? And they're not looking for like a scientific answer like DNA, but they want to test kind of how you're thinking. So it's not really about knowledge. Right? No amount of books that I read can help me get through that. But provided you're interested, you're curious, you give an answer that shows a little bit of your structured thinking, they give feedback on your answer, and you're willing to learn and think more on that rather than just say, okay, I'm done, I've given my answer, that's it. So I think getting into it, what's important is your genuine interest in that subject. And actually that's the same advice I would say as to how do you make out of it. Because once you're there, there's no kind of set timetable which says you need to study this time to this time. You need to give your kind of enforce your discipline to study. I remember when I did PB in Oxford, the number of hours that I had to be somewhere per week was about 4 hours. The entire week, I had 4 hours of commitment time that I had to go and see a certain tutor. The rest was all up to me how I divide it. So if you're not that interested in your subject you apply to, you're gonna find yourself in a very kind of difficult position.
Alright, thank you Mr. Itim for taking the time and your patience to answer our questions. Now I hand over the floor to Wacharasindhu.
Thank you, Emil, Nob, and AJ, and Mr. Itim. A warm applause to them, please. We thank all the pupils as well who overcame their nervousness, reservations, hesitations, and shyness to participate in the Q&A part of the activity. A big round of applause to everyone, please.
And we are hoping that for the talk and the exchange during Q&A part, we are now relatively much more aware and have more practical knowledge on how to prepare for our tertiary education and future career prospects, even at our young age.
Further, may we also be inspired from the talk about giving back more and more to our country in our own small ways and become a contributing member to society, just as our guest speaker have been, despite and in spite of his young age.
To show our appreciation and our recognition to Mr. Parit and Wacharasindhu for sharing his time and knowledge and for the inspiration he imparted this afternoon, let us give our warmest applause to him.
And may we call on Mr. J.R. Karun-Sathit, our assistant to the Deputy Managing Director, and Mrs. Beth Karun-Sathit, Deputy Managing Director, to the stage to present our token of appreciation.
May we please invite Mr. Itim to the center of the stage to receive his token and for the picture taking.
As a school would want to memorialize this activity with our guest speaker, we would like to invite Mr. Itim down at the floor in one of the reserved seats in front for picture taking with the audience.
thank you so much, Mr. Itim, and thank you everyone for listening. I know it's been 2 hours of talk, and I hope you enjoy. So, first of all, I want to thank everyone for organizing this event, and thank you the DMCs, in Florence, and also the facilitators, Ariel, Dr. A. Please give a round of applause to them for their hard work. I'd like to thank the secretaries as well for giving up your precious time and teaching them to have their enrichment activity today. And most of all, I want to thank Ms. Maya for organizing this. So please give a big round of applause to Ms. Maya. And Teacher James as well. So, hope you enjoy our first pep talk today. So remember, pep talk, pupil enrichment program. So we aim to enrich you in order for you to grow up, transition, in order for you to mature. So this, if you are in school today, it's part of your process to become mature. So mature is not only to grow according to age, it's not only about age to age, but it comes with to be developmentally, develop your character. And that is why we provide you these pep talks. This is our first talk, and I'm sure that there will be many more pep talks going on and many more activities in order to enrich you in the future. And that is why you've heard already the story of Mr. Itim today, the story of how he achieved this maturity. And I hope from today's session, today's pep talk, and many more activities, many more pep talks to come, you will find your own story of how to achieve your own maturity. As he mentioned, it's okay to do mistakes, but learn from your mistakes. Do not commit the same mistakes several times. And also, there's no right timing. There's never too early, never too late. You have the right timing, your own timing to grow, to achieve your own story of maturity. So, and finally, hope that you'll be able to contribute whatever you have to society in your own way of achieving your own maturity. So thank you very much, and I hope that you enjoyed the session today, and many more to come. Thank you so much.